Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 6 of Bye Bye Windows, Hello Linux. Today we're going to look at Linux Mint, but this time with the Xfce Desktop, not the usual Cinnamon desktop, so the Xfce Desktop. So this is suitable for people who have a smaller amount of memory, that's RAM memory, or a processor which isn't quite as fast. So let's get started. linuxmint.com is the website name, and you've probably seen me on here before, but here if you click on download and then scroll down a little, you'll actually see that we have an Xfce desktop. If you have a normal computer that's been bought in the last 5 to 7 years, then you'll need the 64-bit, but if you've got an older computer or only 1 gigabyte of memory, RAM memory or whatever, then possibly the 32-bit. Now I've already downloaded the 64-bit, but again you've got a series of mirrors and you just scroll down to the one that you want, and I'm in the United Kingdom and I use the University of Kent. So I've already downloaded this and it's already on my computer. Just clicking on it will start the download. So much easier than the much easier than the MX Linux one. So let's get started. Once it's downloaded, again you need to create a USB drive. So using jlavelle.uk, just download it. If you're using Windows, you just select the one that you're using for Windows and put it on your desktop. Again, once it's downloaded, select the image, put the USB drive into your computer and then flash it. It's as simple as that. Reboot your computer. Remember to make sure that you have backed up everything, because you are going to format your hard disk and lose everything. So let's assume that you have Linux Mint with the Xfce Desktop on a USB drive. So let's start. So again you can see it's going to boot up and it says Start Linux Mint. This is not actually installed on your computer. It is just in demo mode, just like Manjaro was and just like MX Linux was. Again, it'll take a couple of minutes while it's setting itself up. Okay, so again I'm going to resize the screen, so we'll click on the menu, and as you can see it looks different from the Cinnamon menu, but notice I think this looks a lot easier than the MX one. Your settings are here, so we'll click on settings, click on display, and this is the same display that we had for the MX and the Manjaro, but notice that this time it actually fits in the window, which is very nice. So we want 1280 by 960 and click apply. It will jump to the other monitor, so I shall bring it back, and as you can see we now have it set up. So you can actually look through the system if you wish, because this is running from your USB drive, so you can see that the menu looks a bit different. Settings are at the top, but I find this looks easier to use. This looks definitely easier to use. Right, let's double click on Install Linux Mint. Now this is the same installer that you would find with Cinnamon, or very similar. So we want English UK and English UK. So for the keyboard layout, just select your keyboard layout. I'm in the UK, so English UK, and I've just got a standard keyboard. Okay, this is a good idea to do it, to install the third-party software for any graphics cards. So I would strongly recommend that you select this. Continue. Again, this is very similar to the Cinnamon installation. At the moment it's actually downloading. You can't see this, but it's actually downloading the drivers. Okay, now if you're doing this on a system that already has Windows, you'll actually have another option, which is to dual boot. Now, I would strongly recommend that you use the erase disk and install Linux Mint. And don't forget that make sure that you have all your important files, everything that you need backed up. And don't use a backup system. You need to copy and paste the folders, the directories, over onto another drive or onto a large USB key. Because if you use a backup system, it probably won't work in Linux, so you need to copy and paste. I wouldn't encrypt. You can use LMV because this will allow you to actually set up new drives as well, but that's a more technical item. So it's a good idea just to tick it, and later when you get more used to using Linux and you might need to install another drive or whatever, then this will make your life a lot better. So click install now and it will tell you what it's going to do. So it tells you what it's going to do. It's going to write the partition tables. It's actually creating a swap drive here. So click continue. And the installation will now start. So I'm in London, but you can select your time zone. So if you're in Perth, you can actually type in the name of your city here as well, but London is fine for me. So click continue. So type in, type in your name. And I do like this system because it automatically fills things in for you. I'm going to change VirtualBox into Mint Xfce. And remember, you need a password that is easy to type and easy to remember because you're going to use it a lot. Don't use the login automatically because it's not a very good idea for security, and make sure you've got require my password at login. I wouldn't encrypt your home folder unless you're working on top secret government projects. Continue. Okay, this will take a few minutes, and what we'll do, you'll actually see a slideshow giving you information about Linux and that type of thing while it installs. So first of all it copies the files, then it installs and compiles them especially for your computer, and we'll come back when it's finished doing that. Okay, so that's installed. Again, it took about 5 minutes, not very long. You can continue testing by clicking this, or we can restart. So I shall select restart now. Let's see if it's remembered the screen size. I wonder. So we're now restarting. Right. Log in. And it looks like we're now in. Yes, here we go with the Linux Mint logo. So this is Linux Mint with the Xfce Desktop, and you've got your welcome to Linux Mint. It's got the first steps, which I do recommend you do, but I recommend you do the system snapshot, the update manager, then do the driver manager, and then do the system settings. I'm actually not going to do that, but remember, leave it show at startup until you're finished, because we're going to have a look at the system. So the first thing we need to do is change the display size. Now, it didn't remember the size, and we want 1280 by 960. It jumps to the other screen, and back we come. So close. It's I think a cleaner version of Xfce. This is certainly a bit cleaner down at the bottom. You've got the battery, you've got the network, you've got some problems that you probably will have on your first install. You have your updates, which is probably why you've got the problems, and you've got some notifications. You've got Linux, you've got Firefox, you've got File Manager. Now, which one is this? It looks like Tuna. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Where are we? File Manager. There we go. Like Tuna, it is. It's Tuna. Okay. So, and we have Terminal. And again, with this terminal, you have a menu which is better than the MX Linux, where you have to right click on it in the menu bar down here. So as you can see, it is slightly transparent, which is one of the things I'm not happy about. So remove the transparent background. Oops, and solid color. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. And as you can see, it works just fine. So we'll come out of there. Let's have a look at the menu. Now, I think the menu looks very good. I like this form of menu. To me, I prefer this. So first of all, you've got all the items, so you can list through all of them. You've got just the accessories, which are things like a character map and a document viewer, and you can change your fonts and notes and things like that. An image viewer. Graphics. Now this time you don't have GIMP installed, but you do have a simple drawing package. So this is not as complex as GIMP. You can, if you wish, install GIMP. That's not a problem. We can do that. But you have this simple drawing package, which is sort of somewhere between GIMP and the drawing package that comes with Windows Paint. Internet, Firefox, HexaChat. So you've got Firefox and Thunderbird Mail, and again you can put Skype on if you use Skype. So Firefox, Thunderbird Mail is very much like Outlook or Outlook Express. Multimedia, you've got Celluloid for movies, Pulse Audio, which is very good, and Rhythmbox. You don't have VLC. I would recommend that you actually install VLC. You have LibreOffice as standard. Now that's very good. It's better than the free office, the free open office that we had with Manjaro. And you've got the settings, so you can go in, and this is basically the same as Control Panel, where you can change a lot of the things in here. So you can set the desktop background, for example. If you don't like the Linux Mint, you can come and look at wallpaper for that type of thing. You can change how the menus are, and you can change how the icons are. I'll leave everything as is on here for now. And you've got, as I say, the Thunar file manager that we looked at just a moment ago. You've got the firewall configuration, which is the standard firewall. So you've got basically everything that you would normally use. And in system, you have a backup tool, which is very good. So you can back up your home drive and so on. Now remember that time shift is like system restore in Microsoft. It's only for your programs and the operating system. And the backup tool is for your data. So remember, they're two separate systems. This is exactly the same as system restore. I do recommend that you set it. And the backup tool is for your documents and videos and that type of thing. Software manager, let's have a look. It's a standard software manager. So first time round. So for example, you can install GIMP and this type of thing. You've got Dropbox and all of that. If you've got a VPN, you can use the PIA VPN. There's a link to that in the notes below if you want to have that. And VLC, which I would recommend that you have. So yep, it's all standard and it's all there. Now, so you can actually see what's happening, and you've got your various tools and the types of things that you want. So yes, it's very good. Just a very quick thing while I'm here. I'll just show you something very quick. If you come into Office and LibreOffice Writer, and we'll just allow it to set up. This will take a moment because it's the first time it's used it. Okay, you'll notice that the icons are sort of not really the Microsoft Office style icons. Now there is a little trick that you can do to make this a bit more like the Microsoft Office style. So if you click on Tools, come to Options, and then come to Advanced, and click on Enable Experimental Features, may be unstable. Well, I haven't found them to be unstable just yet, so click on that and click on OK. Now it needs to restart LibreOffice, so we'll restart LibreOffice. And you'll notice there's no difference. Well, there's no until you go into View, and you'll notice we now have Notebook Bar. This didn't exist before, so if we click on it, you'll see that it's much more in the Microsoft Office style. Okay, we've still got the menu above, and you can actually have the full menu if you wish by clicking on the hamburger and then selecting menu bar, making sure there's a tick in menu bar. And so consequently it now looks much more like the Microsoft Office style that you're probably used to. You'll need to install some Microsoft fonts. Again, you can do that through the software manager in System, and I do recommend that you install the Microsoft fonts because a lot of things use them. So if you actually write in, I think it's MS fonts, it should find it. It will. You can actually try on TTF as well. Let's try that. Type font system. Let's see if it finds it. If not, we can download these. Ah yes, here we go. TTF MS Core Fonts Installer. So I recommend that you install this package, and it will install the standard Arial and Times and Verdana and that type of thing that you're used to. Just click install. You will have to accept the license because it is Microsoft and they do require that you accept the license, but apart from that you'll get the standard Microsoft fonts, and then you can set this up to have the standard Microsoft font that you would use. Okay, so that's a quick look at the Mint Xfce Desktop, and if you haven't got very much space, if you've got a small amount of memory, small amount of RAM, then this would be very good. And looking at this to the Manjaro one and to the MX Linux one, I think I prefer the menu layout on this. I think I prefer that. Okay, so that's it for today. Please like, share and subscribe. My name's John, and I'll see you next time.